Hey everyone, my name's Walter and I'm here with something a bit different, but it is something I've wanted to talk about. We don't generally get into politics on my channel, but this is something entirely different. This is so stupid in so many ways that it's hilarious and I'd like to try to describe it. Well, let's begin with a short history of litterbox rumors. One of the first results on Google is the Wikipedia article that calls it a hoax right in the title. The Litterboxes in Schools hoax, also called the Litterbox Canard, is a false rumor alleging that certain North American schools provide litterboxes in bathrooms for students who identify as cats, or who participate in the furry or otherkin subcultures. In 2021 and 2022, various American conservative and far-right politicians and media personalities promoted the hoax in response to several school districts enacting protections for transgender students. Many news outlets, fact-checking websites, and academic researchers have debunked such claims, and officials from every school named by those promoting the hoax have verified that the accusations are false. The claims have been described as internet trolling, fear-mongering, and anti-transgender rhetoric. Yeah, what's crazy about this rumor is the fact that most people spreading it either don't know it's transphobic or flat-out refuse to believe it is. This is, of course, your basic slippery slope argument, except they added furries to it. Now, I come from something awful, and they had a huge hate boner for furries 20 years ago, so it's crazy to me that there are people who have been on the internet for this long and don't know what furries are. They don't identify as animals. And they predate the internet, so they're not some new offshoot of trans people or something. The ones who identify as animals are otherkin or Therians or something, but either way, it's not happening in schools. There is a down the rabbit hole video on furries if you want to know more about their long history, but I think it's time to talk about the main subject of this video, one Don Bulldog. Guess what? We have furries and fuzzies in classrooms, Bulldog told the crowd. They lick themselves. They're cats. When they don't like something, they hiss. People walk down the hallway and jump out, he said, as a hissing sound could be heard. And get this, he continued. They're putting litter boxes, right? Litter boxes for that. These are the same people that are concerned about spreading germs, yet they let children lick themselves and then touch everything. And they're starting to lick each other. I wish I was making it up, concluded Bulldog. I honestly wish it was a Saturday Night Live skit. He wasn't making up the conspiracy theory himself, of course. He probably got it from Joe Rogan or Libs of TikTok. However, this part about kids licking each other is not only pretty creepy fan fiction, but I've only heard it from him. I don't think Joe Rogan said anything about kids licking each other. I'd like to point out that I've never heard of fuzzies, and seemingly no one else has either. But let's just think of the logistics here in as non-creepy of a way as possible. Were we really supposed to believe that kids are taking a shit in front of their entire class? And people just put up with it? I can't even imagine how gross that would be. Litter boxes are bad enough when cats use them. And then what? Mr. Venezuela has to come clean it up? There are just so many ways in which this beggars belief. And it's wild to me that this Don Bulldog is a retired brigadier general. It's the lowest ranking of the generals, but I was in the army for 3 years and I don't think I even met a general. I did have to move sandbags outside a general's house in the middle of a horrible storm in case it flooded once, so that sucked. Anyway, my point is, though I met a plethora of dumbass NCOs, the commissioned officers are usually pretty smart. There was a GT score requirement on the ASVAB, probably among other things. So it's bizarre to see such a high-ranking officer falling for one of the dumbest things I've ever heard. Does this guy not have a phone? He obviously hasn't Googled what furries are or anything. In response, Pinkerton Academy in Derry said Bulldog was indeed making it up. On social media on Monday, the school said, "It has come to our attention that at a recent event in Claremont, Don Bulldog named Pinkerton in false claims suggesting that unhygienic, disturbing practices are taking place in our classrooms and spaces on campus. We want to assure our community that Mr. Bulldog's statements are entirely untrue. We invite all political candidates to speak with members of our administration or visit our campus so they can inform themselves about our school before making claims about what occurs there." I guess I should mention that Don Bulldog was one of Trump's handpicked candidates, and I don't think any of them did very well. To be fair, he wasn't the incumbent. So after the school denied having litter boxes, Don Bulldog fired back, saying it was on them to prove that they don't have litter boxes in their classrooms. Of course, it's impossible to prove something isn't in a classroom. The burden of proof is actually on him to prove that there are. Every single high schooler has a phone that they can take pictures with, and we don't have a single picture of a litter box in a classroom. Of course, if I don't mention it, people will in my comments. There was a school in Colorado that had cat litter in case of an extended active shooting. A school in the same district as Columbine. But that wasn't what Don Bulldog was talking about anyway. I should mention that this madness with Don Bolduc took place in October of 2022, but at the time of making this video, people are still spreading this. How come the adults around these kids that identify as cats don't make them eat cat food, take them to the vet when they're sick, and make them use a litter box? Because we all know it's complete BS. Stop encouraging mental illness in children. It's abuse. Yeah, we do all know it's complete BS. Except for her, apparently. This was posted 2 days ago. School board meeting. A Windham, Maine resident seems to believe there is a book titled How to Have Sex with a Cat that was discovered in the school's library. He's conflating. He's heard 2 separate pieces of bullshit common at these school board fascist rants. 1. Libraries are full of straight-up porn. 2. Kids are demanding to identify as cats. He's mashed the 2 together into one lie. Not uncommon when you were making shit up. Wow, that's embarrassing. What a fool this guy must have looked like. I talked to my 4th grader the other day about this. I said, "Son, are there any books in your school or library that have sex or sexual situations in them? And do you have litter boxes in school?" And he looked at me like I was an alien, and he was like, no, that's stupid. Yeah, I asked my nephew about the litter boxes, actually. Not because I thought they might exist, but I was wondering if kids had even heard of this crap. The answer is pretty much no. And I sure hope you don't think Don Bolduc is the only politician that spread this. Lauren Boebert believes a furry is someone who thinks they are a cat or a dog and told a dad to have his son identify as a trapper because there were furries at his school. Nebraska State Senator Bostelman, Republican, falsely says that school children are being encouraged to identify as cats. If you don't know what furries are, it's when kids dress up as cats or dogs during the school day. Schools are wanting to put litter boxes in, for kids to use. This guy is definitely a furry. How drunk was this guy, do you think? These candidates are putting the Onion to shame. Someone has been getting his news from the Onion again. Very sick. Call Shrink now. As someone that's been part of the furry fandom for almost 20 years, I'm truly bewildered by these claims. Are there folks in the fandom who lean way too much into it and act weird? Sure, but you can say that about any nerd community. Just look at the anime fandom. You know, if you were to tell me that the furry community has a problem with diaper fetishes, I'd be inclined to believe you. That was largely what got the Washington FurCon rainforest shut down quite a few years ago now. I have never once heard of a human using a litter box, though. Fucking gross. At a Midland Public Schools meeting, a parent brings up furries, saying she has heard at least one school in the district is providing a litter box for kids that identify as cats. The parent goes on to suggest this is part of a larger agenda nationwide. Yeah, someone explain that agenda to me. Why exactly would teachers want kids LARPing as cats and disrupting their class? I'm in Iowa, and the locals told me about a phenomenon happening in schools now where kids identify as animals. This is Goat Girl. Some kids wear tails. And the school has allowed litter boxes in the hallways since some identify as cats. They call themselves furries. You know, I don't doubt there are furries in high school wearing tails, but that is a far cry from lining the hallways with litter boxes. One kid was reprimanded for wearing a MAGA hat, and they made a new rule in the school that no hats were allowed, but they are allowing cat ears and furry head masks/hats since they identify as an animal. This entire craziness opens the door to bestiality. Maybe they can take their cats to school because they identify as humans. The sad thing is that the devil is laughing at the stupidity and ignorance of men. You can't normalize and be okay with crazy demon-possessed people. Cast the demons out. I think the kids are trolling at this point. No, these are demons. These people are so unhinged. They just make up something utterly ridiculous and then get mad about how utterly ridiculous it is. I can't believe this. Yeah, because it's not fucking true. People can identify as whatever they want to. Furries identify as cats. That doesn't mean they actually are cats. I'm not required to indulge your fantasies. I really refuse to believe that the real Teddy Roosevelt would fall for this conspiracy theory. You know your country is a dumpster fire when a fucking gubernatorial candidate is campaigning on protecting Coloradans from furries, kids who identify as cats and peeing in litter boxes at school. What the actual fuck, people? The funniest part is that Joe Rogan actually admitted that his story wasn't true, but none of these politicians bothered to. Why do they seem less reputable than Joe Rogan? That can't be a good sign. He's just an entertainer, so I expected more out of politicians. Maybe I should be expecting less. Anyway, I think I've just about covered it now. There were just so many things they got wrong, aside from the fact that it's just blatantly not true. Sorry if this video was too political. I didn't really think it was. I'd be annoyed at any party that was this wrong. What is the excuse in this age where we can just look things up on our phone for espousing something so stupid? Well, let me know what you think, but that is about all the time I have for you today. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you like the video, please give it a like. If you have something to say about Dawn Bulldog, furries, or my content in general, make sure you let me hear it in the comments. I will be reading those while the video's new. If you're new here, consider subscribing for more of the same, and some other things I plan on doing. I think I said a while ago I was going to make 3 videos a week, and I think this is the first time since then that I've actually done it. So go me. I need to work harder though. Anyway, also big thanks to my awesome patrons. I'll be shouting them out by name again soon here. They help support me more directly over on Patreon so I can keep my channel going. It's a huge help. Well, have a great day everyone, and don't let your kids fall victim to this apparent furry agenda.